Do you want to improve at a quicker pace? Check out the GitGud Course. Instead of just understanding concepts, you'll learn how to implement them directly into your driving. What makes it effective is the approach and practical drills. Together, we're gonna focus on breaking down those complex concepts into small digestible bits that are simple to understand. Everything from the course was tested and refined during the years in coaching sessions, so what I ended up with was the ones that I saw were the most effective. Let's elevate your racing skills together. Now for the track guide. Guys, before starting, if you enjoyed this content, giving it a like and a subscribe is a free way to support the channel as I can continue to create more content like this. Now going into the track guide itself, for turn 1, my reference for braking is this curb right here, or the 100-meter board. Before it, so not at the 100, slightly before it, I'm gonna apply the brakes, like right now I'm on the brakes. There are a couple of things here that you want to take into account. First is don't brake very late. It's better to brake around 75-80% brake pressure and brake early, rather than braking a bit later and holding 90 to 100%. Over a full race, braking softer is gonna be better because you will overheat less the tires and you will just have more grip in the mid part of the corner, everywhere. So if you think about the long run, this is how you save tires. You will brake like 10% softer than you can get away with because you will be quicker. You will be quicker. Maybe it will take you 2-3 laps to see the difference in lap times, but it will at first it will be slow, but then it will compound and it will feel like you're having an edge over your competition if you're consciously braking a bit softer. So look what I'm doing here. 75 and just holding this 75 pressure, which is the second point that I want to make. Don't drop the brakes too quickly. Try to hold like a constant level. Up until you get to second gear, just hold a constant level, and when you're going through the gears, downshift as quickly as you can. Do this very quickly. Whenever you're going from 6th to 2nd, it doesn't really matter the timing of the downshift. You just want to get from 6th to 2nd as quickly as you can. And then from 2nd to 1st, yes, you have to time the input so that you're turning into the corner. You don't want to downshift at a random moment. But honestly, from 6th to 2nd, you just want to do it as quicker as the car can take it. So adding the engine braking will help with the tire management because engine braking is a bit softer on the tires. Also, notice that I'm using all this curve right here, all the way to the grass. You can do this because this curve doesn't have a big height. So generally on a more aggressive curve, if you're braking on it, the tire will go up and down like this. So the tire won't make contact with the tarmac at all times. But here's not the case. This curve is almost like it's part of the tarmac. So you can brake on it without losing braking performance. And when turning into this corner, you want to apex around this white line and the red and white curve, but don't go all the way to the green here or to this stick, because if you will hit the green, you won't be able to put the power down because the tire will go, the curb near the apex is a bit taller and the tire will go almost like it goes into an elevation change like this, and then whenever you're putting the throttle, you're not going to be able to maintain it because look what's happening when I'm pressing the throttle. I'm pressing the throttle here and you will see the throttle shape going always up, progressively up, without hesitating and without going up, down. So I'm pressing the throttle, I'm maintaining it. I'm not able to go 0-100 very quickly because look how much steering angle I have. My hands are crossed right now whenever I'm pushing the throttle. So it's impossible to go 0-100 very quickly, but I'm modulating it and I'm fishing for grip here and it goes like this, you see? A straight shape, it obviously it has a build up, but I'm not at any point I'm not going down. I'm always going up, which is very important to have a good exit. You will use all the space right here. And now for the next corner, again, you want to open up as much as you can. So here you can almost clip this grass without spinning or without losing something on corner entry. So align yourself not with the white line, but with this gray part before the grass. You have your right tire there, that's fine. And you can almost hear the grass if you listen again to my lap at 13, because I was clipping the grass and then going into the corner. In terms of the braking here, before the 50 you're gonna apply the brakes. You don't want to brake very hard, so notice 39% on the brakes, downshifting to third, aiming to get very close to this stick here. It's okay here, we need to cut a lot, and then immediately putting the throttle down. Again, you can use this space, it won't be an off track, so having the car with this white line in the middle of the car, it's still gonna be fine. And now this can be a tricky corner. This is a long corner and you're gonna manage it with dropping the throttle. So right now I'm in 4th gear. I plan to apex around this white line on the grass here, and when I'm hitting it, I'm pressing the brakes. Initially the car will go more into the center to left side part of the track. When that happens, inter gear, barely holding the brakes like you can see here, and then I'm bringing the car back up, almost miss the apex. So this can be a slightly bit improved. You want to hit with your right tire this part of the tarmac right here. Let me pull it like this so you can see it. This part right here, this one. You want to put your right tire on it. That's gonna be like the perfect way to take this corner. And then still holding the, you know what happened here, why I lost time? I was too far on the right side here. You want to fight the car more on your way of bringing the car all the way to the right side, because if you will have the car all the way on the left here, your corner is compromised. So that's one of the things. You want on the exit to bring the car all the way back on the right side here. But if it's so easy to bring it back, then you lost some time. Because look, at this point in time, I was up 3/10. But because I took a bit of a later apex here and my speed went just a bit down, I lost 2/10. So I think there's probably 1.5 tenths that you can get, that I could gain here, because if you're too far on the left then you won't make it. So generally it wasn't that bad. I will get that time back in the braking zone to some extent. But to make things clear, think of this corner, of this long corner, as a double apex. This is your first apex at the white paint here. Then let the car roll more, and then you're gonna apex whenever you see this texture on the curb, like right here. Ideally the car won't be positioned all the way to the right, so you have to fight it a bit. It will be more in the center of the track. Then you're gonna bring it back towards the right side, and when you bring the car to the right side, that's the moment when you're gonna apply the brakes. Ideally you want to brake with your steering wheel straight. So look what's happening right now. I'm applying the brakes. I'm braking before the 50. Braking and then turning, and I want to hit this part of the green here. Because you're going downhill, that's gonna be fine. You're gonna shorten the distance. This curb will allow you to hook the car nicely for you. So because of this, I'm using it and then I'm pushing the throttle. So I'm going on throttle quite late here, but I found that this gives you like a superior line. Like if you're on throttle here, you will just go wide. This is a quite narrow corner. So if you're on throttle a bit later, like now, this is way better. So think about being on throttle after you hit the curb. I think it's gonna be quite good. And then right here, use all the track like this. If you have your left tire still on the white line, it's not gonna be an off track. Now we're gonna shorten the distance by keeping all the way on the right here. And here we will go diagonally towards the braking zone. So you see, I'm not pushing the car on the left and just following the left part of the track. That's gonna cover longer distance. Instead, going like this, going diagonal, and now my car is straight. Use this curb to brake on it, so align yourself with the grass. And the braking point here is a bit tough to find. What you can use here, I'm braking mostly on feel, but what you can use is this yellow banner on the top right side. You see it in my windshield. Whenever it's almost close to disappearing, you can apply the brakes. You will brake quite hard, around 75, 80, and downshift very quickly. Don't drop the brakes too quickly, so notice that I'm dancing a bit in the top but not dropping it instantly. And then in first gear you have to cut a lot of this curve here. on this entry curve. So cut it a lot like this, because on the exit you don't want the car to be all the way on the left, you want to be more in the center right, like I'm having right now. And a pro tip in this chicane, try to go to 100% throttle in between these two corners of the chicane. So this is what I'm doing. Look, I'm hitting 100% in first gear, I'm upshifting to second, I'm turning with 100% and I'm just dropping, doing a lift, and then getting back up. Another pro tip, try to avoid using this curb. Don't touch this curb too much. Like, you can touch it, barely touch it, but don't go more, because the tire will bottom out on the curb, and you will feel the TC kicking in, you will have worse traction. So try to stay away from this curb. I'm just barely touching it and then running away. Same here, don't touch this curb when you're turning. You will, the car will feel lazier to turn, you will lose time. In terms of the braking, one thing that you can use to have a good reference for braking is the moment that you have your steering wheel straight, because look, now you're building it up, you're positioning the car, and now when the steering wheel, it was not my case here, it was a small mistake, but you can add the first part of the braking, you can do it with the steering wheel straight. I did it with a couple of degrees turned, so definitely not ideal, but in my mind, at this point in time, I could have straightened the wheel because the car was already parallel to the white line. So this was my thinking about where to brake. Now, trailing into this corner, super important, don't touch the stick and apex very late. Like when the green starts to disappear, then you're gonna go on throttle, because if you will go earlier, you will just run wide. So look, I'm on throttle, I'm actually a bit earlier on throttle, like right now, but in my mind, the apex point, like where I'm putting my right tire, is here, on the exit on the green, not in the middle part. Because if you will take it early, you will end up in this part of the curb right here, and this is danger. There are two problems. If you arrive a bit more on the left side, first of all, whenever you will hit the curb, you will feel like the car is bottoming out a bit. Not necessarily bottoming out, but the tire will go up and down and you're losing traction. So if you stay here, you will have less grip, you will lose time. But also, if you stay here and you turn from this curb, the car will feel lazier to turn in the next corner. So there are two different things that will make it worse. Plus, it's the risk of running into the yellow sausage curves, which instantly kills your lap time. So don't push the car all the way to the left, keep it around here. Notice that I'm avoiding using this curve here. I'm not using it, I'm following the white line right now. So my tires are on the white line, don't use this curve. And now when going into this corner, it's quite hard to nail it because you don't really see, unless you don't have triples, you don't really see enough. What I'm doing right now is I'm trying to enter gear, I'm trying to brake, and obviously I'm braking and turning at the same time, but I'm trying to minimize the turning angle. I want to keep, in my mind, ideally it would be like 0 degrees of steering angle will give me the most amount of grip to brake. But since that's not possible, I'm trying to minimize it like this, and notice that at some point I'm turning right a bit, so I'm going left, right, the car is oversteery, and in this sector, the secret is to not drive the car to 100%. You have to underdrive the car a bit. Because if you push too much, like if you push to 100%, there's the chance of going to 101% and going past the limit. And when that happens, everything is gone because the tires are heated, the rear tires are overheated, and then it will feel impossible to drive. So because of this, it's better to drive at around 90-95%, no more than that. And if a small mistake happens, that mistake won't bring you past 100. You see, leave yourself some room for error here. And you're gonna do this by steering less, by not braking very, very late and very hard, by not downshifting too aggressively, by taking later apexes. Things like this adds up. So again, here, look, I'm on the brakes, I'm just trailing, and then turning into the corner, and my apex point is in the middle part. Notice that I'm not going too far on this curve. I'm barely brushing it with my right tires, and now I'm bringing the car all the way to the left here. Not necessarily all the way to the left because I'm not hitting the curb, but it's center left, let's say. and I'm braking when I'm going uphill, again, with all the time holding the brakes. You want to stay on the brakes up until the car rotates. If the car doesn't rotate enough, you will just stay more on the brakes. But if you feel like the rear is gonna spin, then you will drop the brakes. It's difficult to negotiate these corners because, as I said, if you just go past the grip limit, you're done. Your whole sector will be at least 3/10 slower once you go past the grip limit. So you have to focus here to just keep the car under the limit, basically. Keep it under the limit most of the times, you will be faster on average. And what I was doing here, it was not really under the limit, it was very close to the limit, but because I was trying to go for a fast lap. But in an actual race, I will go like just 5% slower, and I'm sure I will be faster over a long run, rather than pushing and in one lap losing 3/10 and then driving perfectly for 2 laps to get back those 3/10. You see, it's not worth it. Just go a bit slower here, go a bit with softer inputs, don't have harsh inputs on the steering wheel, don't trail brake too much with too much speed because you can oversteer. Things like this can help you stay alive. And here, apexing after the yellow sausage curve, building up the throttle, barely touching the green on your way out, always going up on the throttle so you will have a nice and sweet exit. And in short, that's the track guide around Fuji. It's a very difficult track. The first sector is hard because you need to be pixel perfect with your apexes in order to be quick. The middle sector is fine, it's the easiest part of the track before going uphill, and the last sector is just pain. It's very, very difficult. This is a technical track, but if you learn it, it rewards a lot the tire management, so you will unlock a skill that you can use virtually everywhere. Anyways, thanks for watching, thanks for sticking around. If you want to improve at a quicker pace, check out my course, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye bye.